2 weeks ago, the Craftsman Truck Series stars put on their usual spectacular display of road course inventiveness and occasional aggression. Dave Resendiz appeared to have this thing won with 3 laps to go.
Oh, and Resendiz has crashed the leader.
Joe Rudman, time to celebrate. The Californian inherits his 3rd win of the year, and this California cavalcade moves to Mesa Marin, the bull ring near Bakersfield, which provided an abundance of close-quarter short-track competition, including a ton of lead changes. Ron Hornaday's Napa Chevy was hot and then way hot. And again, with just 3 laps to go, Pineapple Pack and Randy Tolsma took the lead from Mike Wallace. Rookie Stacy Compton held off Mike Blitz and others for 2nd. Way to go, Tolsma. And on we go to the new California Speedway. It is the biggest, the baddest, the draftingest racetrack the trucks have ever tackled. Where the Southern California megalopolis we call L.A. meets the Mojave Desert, Roger Penske has built this, the magnificent new California Speedway. It debuted on ABC in June with Winston Cup cars. Today, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series comes calling. The race is called the No Fear Challenge. We have 200 miles of truck action coming up here on ESPN2. Just 3 races remain to decide this championship. Jack Sprague and Rich Bickle are in a tough tussle at the top. Joe Ruttman trying to keep his title hopes alive here today. Let's get trackside and meet the first of 2 men who will patrol pit road today. Here's Marty Reed.
David, you're absolutely right. It is a 3-man battle, and the man with the best shot at catching the points leader is Rich Bickle. He's 56 points behind. He's going to be coming out of the number 5 slot today. And right next to him is the guy who is in 3rd in the points, 184 back. It's Joe Ruttman, and he knows he needs some help. And they won't have to look very far to find the guy that they're trying to chase down for the championship. Just go to the outside of the front row, and you'll find the familiar number 24 Quaker State Chevrolet with Jack Sprague behind the wheel. He's going to start right alongside pole sitter Mike Bliss. And remember, Sprague 7 times has won on tracks of a mile or longer.
Well, Roger Penske's 2-mile speed palace could pose a couple problems today. We're talking about pit strategy and passing in the draft. Pit strategy, well, ordinarily they stop at the halfway point, but not today. They're going all the way to lap 60 so they can run the final 40 laps without a fuel stop, which means they got to stop for gas during the first 60 laps. That's the pit strategy part. Now, as far as passing in the draft, Kyle Petty put it best, said, hey, Doc, these big trucks knock a big hole in the air. Reminds me of the old days in Winston Cup when drafting was critical and fun. You can be 4 miles an hour slower, and you can suck up behind somebody and ride all day long. So you folks at home, break out those Talladega Daytona drafting terms like slingshot, freight train, and oh, by the way, hung out to dry.
Hey, did Doc say Petty in a truck? You bet. We're close to Hollywood. A lot of big stars have come out from NASCAR's senior circuit to show off their drafting experience here in this challenge race. Are we in California or what? Check out the Grand Marshal for today.
Drivers, we can see your names on the door. Now we want to see your foot on the floor. Please start your engines.
Davis Day with Benny Parsons, and I tried to get him to fix his hair that way this morning. He wouldn't do it. Hey, we've gone into a lot of uncharted territory in 3 years with this NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Today, 2-mile racetrack. First time we've tried that.
This is the biggest racetracks these trucks have been on. I think we all realize, though, that if they're going to be successful in Oregon and Washington, places they go to, they've got to succeed at these racetracks, the big racetracks, where you can really see that drafting that Jerry Bunch was talking about. NASCAR, trying to make this the safest and best race I've ever seen, has made some aerodynamic changes. We'll get into that just a little bit later, but I think today promises to be the best truck race you've ever seen.
173 and change for speed. We're talking about a fast race here today. It'll be 100 laps and 200 miles. They will run to lap 60 with a fuel-only stop. Take a break and run the last 40. Don't expect fuel stops then, but if they make a stop, it is for fuel only. There's your full speed of 173 and change, and over $250,000 on the line here this afternoon. I would tune in to watch something like this, and we're glad you did too. We'll take a commercial break and be back with the starting lineup. Stay with us. We're back at the California Speedway outside Fontana, and it's the kickoff of a doubleheader weekend here on ESPN. The trucks race this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. The Kenwood 300 for the Busch Grand National cars. That'll start at 4 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock local time here in California. You'll see that live on ESPN. Kyle Petty, by the way, will be up in the booth for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup here for this afternoon as the trucks circulate, warming the engines. Mike Bliss starts the race from a series-leading 5th pole of the year alongside the point leader Jack Sprague. They were the 2 fastest trucks from the moment they unloaded here. Lance Norick makes it a Ford, a Chevy, and then a Dodge as he starts inside row 2. Did not qualify for 2 of the last 5 races. He's 3rd today alongside Kenny Irwin, winner twice this year on tracks of a mile and a half or more. Rich Bickle is 2nd in the championship standings, 56 back alongside Joe Ruttman, who is 3rd in points and the winner at Sears Point. Bob Keselowski, the Richmond winner in the Dodge. Ernie Irvin here, of course, out of the Winston Cup Series with the team that he owns. Rick Crawford, 2nd in the Cintas Rookie of the Year standings inside row 5 alongside Jay Sauter, who is currently 7th in the standings. Benny?
In row 6 is Barry Bodine. This is Jeff's son, his 8th start ever, alongside Jimmy Hensley. Back in row 7, Randy Tolsma, as you saw the winner last week in Bakersfield, and Tony Roper. In row 8 this afternoon, Chuck Bound and Boris Said, who finished 2nd in Texas. In row 9, Robbie Gordon, who ran the Winston Cup for Felix Sabatos this year, also an IndyCar, alongside Mike Wallace. And in row 10, is Brian Refner and Ron Barfield, who'll be driving this truck next year.
A couple of young road racers share row 11, Rob Rizzo and Brian Cunningham. Terry Cook out of Ohio alongside Wayne Grubb, the youngster from Virginia. How about the defending series champion, Ron Hornaday, on such a great roll mid-season? Qualified 25th today with a loose truck alongside Kyle Petty. And then another Winston Cup veteran, Michael Waltrip, shares a row with the youngster from the West Coast, Kevin Harvick. Stacy Compton, currently 2nd in the rookie standings, will start 29th alongside the veteran Rick Corelli. And then come Tony Raines, the winner at I-70, and Eric Norris, who is the son of actor Chuck Norris.
For visuals for today's race, Butch Miller and Tammy Jo Kirk. Also, Doug George and Bill Sedgwick. That's the 36 cars that will make up today's No Fear Challenge.
Trivia lovers, make note. All of the drivers who missed the field are from San Diego, California. Joe Bean, Ron Esau, the Winston West star. Rick Johnson crashed his truck, and Randy Nelson. All of them missed the show. We've got 15 Chevys and 16 Fords in the field. Chevrolet has already clinched the manufacturer's championship as we come to California. 5 Dodges, including the one inside row 2. So in terms of brand parity and qualifying, pretty even. In terms of super speedway victories, well, we've got Kenny Irwin and Jack Sprague sharing the honors in terms of the 97 season, but overall, Jack Sprague earned his nickname Big Track Jack. He's got a lot of nicknames. Big Track Jack was the first one, and it started with his wins on tracks like this. Let's go to Marty quickly.
Yeah, Dave McCarty and his crew down here in the Die Hard Chevrolet are not looking real confident right now. They have been rolling the dice. They were surprised at how well they qualified. They made wholesale changes on the springs and the suspension. They said if we got it right, we'll move to the front. If we don't, we're no better than a 12th to 15th place truck.
Wow, that could be big for the second-ranked driver in the standings. We'll keep an eye on Bickle, who will come from the inside of row 3. 56 points off the pace of the champion.
Go, 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 go.
Jack Sprague. Green is in the air. Let's go racing in California.
See Jack Sprague on the outside pole, got the jump on Bliss. And here they are, 3 abreast, trying to get in turn 3. Rich Bickle goes in alongside Ernie Irvin. Lance Norick wisely backs up, lets him go. And Jimmy Hensley, the 43 truck on the outside, off to a very good start.
Up front, Sprague and Bliss been having a mind game since they unloaded here. There you see Jay Sauter in the black 3. Getting ahead of Rich Bickle. They race side by side for a good while. Now Bickle will come back up the inside. I don't know, Benny, it looks to me like he's about holding his own.
It sure does.
Has not moved forward.
Sprague.
Trouble for Sprague.
I'm just guessing he just missed the corner, got in the corner a little bit too hard, and drifted up the racetrack.
Here comes Bickle, the man who's chasing him in the points, saying thank you very much as Sprague backs up to him in a big hurry early. Barry Bodine works up the inside of Jay Slaughter's truck.
Check it out. They are 4 abreast. Keselowski on the bottom. Lance Stark. There's Randy Tozma.
5 wide.
5 wide. As Hornaday dives to the inside and makes it 5 wide. And Hornaday is going somewhere. He's taking his truck to town. And Crawford's about to lose it.
I think somebody may have gotten into the side of Crawford and triggered that. Got him wide, got him loose. He gathers the truck back up in the middle of a Cintas Rookie of the Year battle. And let's see if he's able to find his way back in line. He's slow coming back up to speed, but it looks like all the tires have got air in them. Yeah, here comes Crawford.
Oh, he's about to lose it again. He's very, very loose. Must be a right rear. A rear tire must be flat on the truck.
Big problems early for Rick Crawford, as he almost stuck the thing in the fence. And remember, you're going very, very fast here. Let's take a look at what happened to Jack Sprague, the leader.
He just gets it sideways. The 2-truck, Bliss pulled up behind him, took some air off that rear spoiler, got it sideways, and he chased it up the hill and did a great job in saving the truck.
So what about Rick Crawford? He's on the outside, the circle bar, blue number 14. I thought there was contact there. Maybe not.
No, he just got in there a little bit too hot and got the truck loose, and that's the problem that the trucks have is you lose, when you turn the truck into the corner, you lose that downforce on the back of the truck.
In terms of the championship standings for the rookies, Kenny Irwin with a narrow lead over Rick Crawford, who had that scary moment early on here in the No Fear Challenge.
This is Kenny Irwin that we're riding with. The driver that's currently second in the race, the leader of the race, right in front of him, Mike Bliss.
Stacy Compton didn't qualify very well here today, but he's just 2 points behind Crawford as they race for that prestigious Rookie of the Year. Hornaday continues to charge. Jerry, they've done a good job in getting that thing straightened out.
Well, Double D, he's come from 25th to 12th in 4 laps, and he told me before the start, I'm going to go to the front. They had a problem in qualifying. They were getting air beneath the front of his Chevrolet. It wouldn't turn in the corner. They decided late yesterday to soften the springs and bump the spoiler. That's a truck bump itself down in the nose in the corner. And Hornaday said, boy, we were flying when we did that. We should be awfully tough in the early laps.
Ooh, big squeeze for Hornaday right there. Man, that was close.
That was so close. He tried to go between the Rich Bickle truck. And Rich Bickle right now, as Marty Reed talked about at the very top, he is struggling, drifting backwards and losing valuable positions, which in turn could mean valuable points.
That was Keselowski in the Dodge that went by on the bottom, dropping Bickle back yet another position. Things are not looking great right now for Rich Bickle. Number 65 coming to pit road. There's an apparent problem there for Doug George, who was a provisional starter in the Concord Tool and Machine truck. He's going behind the wall.
And we see Rich Bickle losing another spot as Jay Sauter pulls up right underneath him.
And if I were Rich Bickle, I would be deeply concerned. He has fallen to 13th spot from 5th on the grid. And you heard Marty say they took some major gambles with that truck, hoping they could go forward. It appears they have gone the wrong way. And with him just 56 points out of the championship lead today, it's a bad day to do that. Well, looky there. The old USAC heroes are once again nose to tail. When Bliss and Irwin get close, sparks fly. Stay tuned. We'll have more from California. Life in California is bliss for this guy. Mike Bliss has marched off to a 3 1/4 second lead in this race, just hours after announcing that he will be back with this team next year. Barry Dodson will remain his crew chief, and ASE, celebrating its silver anniversary, thus the paint job on that leading truck, will be back as the sponsor. That, by the way, ends the rumor mill in terms of Mike Bliss being on Richard Petty's short list to drive his Winston Cup car. Richard says that's true. He was talking to him, and Mike had permission from the team owner to make the move, but they have elected to stay together and try to win the truck championship next year. Benny, this has been the most interesting battle of the day as we watch Ernie Irvin continue to lead Jack Sprague around, and you see the gap up to the second place truck of Kenny Irvin Jr. they have not yet hooked up and run down Bliss, and I'm curious as to why that is.
Well, I think they're just, right now, I don't think they're going to get lapped by Mike Bliss, and there's no point in, right now they need to pass each other, try to find out what they can do to those trucks at the break to make them better so they can try to race with Bliss come the second half, that second 40 laps. There's Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace is into 6th position. Remember, he nearly won last week at Mesa Marin. He's come from 18th starting spot, so he's got a pretty good run going here. Picked up a position on the first lap and then knocked off 10 in the next 5 laps. So he's pretty good today. That's a good truck.
And at Mike Wallace at Mesa Marin last week, it looked like his tires had been used up at the end of the race. That's not the case. In fact, he lost a cylinder. With 6 laps to go is why the truck had a problem, why he was passed.
Let's ride with Jimmy Hensley now as he follows Mike Wallace. Let's see if we can get some sense of how the draft works here. What the Cup guys with experience in these on these big tracks have been saying is it's like Daytona the old. You get about this close and that draft will actually pull you right up. We don't see that happening now, but he does have a truck behind him to push him, and there's Keselowski. The draft close up.
It is closing up. They are feeling the effects. That white truck at the very end of that line is Barry Bodine.
One thing we've noticed about the California Speedway with the trucks, they can jump out of line and go 4 or 5 wide in the packs on the straightaways. But when they get to the corners, they want to get to the bottom. This is more than a one-line racetrack in the corners, but not a whole lot more than that.
Well, it's wider than it used to be. When the Winter Cup cars are here, it's widened out about another car length. Back to the lead. There we see we're right along with the leader, Mike Bliss. And Rich Bickle, the 17 truck, is going a lap down.
Unbelievable. Second in the championship standings, just 56 points out of the lead. And Rich Bickle has gone a lap down here in the early running of the California Speedway. They just missed their turn today, and they're really going to pay for it. Mike Bliss continuing to set the pace. Nothing Bickle can do about this. Look at the comparison of the short tracks to the big tracks for Rich Bickle.
And we can see that the short tracks is where he has excelled this year with 3 victories, 11 top 5s, and Super Speedways has obviously struggled and is struggling.
With more short track points than any other driver in the series, and he has lost it all and more on the big tracks.
And Jack Sprague is now going by Rich Bickle. He knows that he is really gaining some points on that second place guy in the points. You know, even though he's running 4th in the race, he had to feel a little bit good as he drove by Rich Bickle.
Or maybe even a whole lot good. Meanwhile, Mike Bliss just keeps driving away from him. Interval last lap, 3.67 seconds. So he picked up a half second since our last commercial break. We'll take another one and come back and see if he can hang on to it. We're live from the California Speedway, the No Fear Challenge. More after this. Looking out the back of the Napa Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday and last week's winner, Randy Tolsma. Take a look at your Napa field summary as Bliss continues to lead this thing over the 3-way battle among Irvin and Sprague. Ruttman has been there from the get-go. Keselowski is next in line with the top Dodge in the field. And there's the rest of the group. And back at the tail end of the race, you'll find the number 17 of Rich Bickle in very big trouble here, having gone a lap down early and taking a huge hit in terms of his championship hopes unless they can work a mid-race miracle in the turnaround. At the break will come at 60 laps. Mike Bliss is your leader. Now remember, these guys are all going to have to stop for fuel. So whether they do it under green or whether they do it under caution is one of the strategy issues. We haven't had a caution flag thus far. There's your gap. That's what 3.99 seconds look like on the racetrack as we get back to the second place truck at number 98, Kenny Irwin. That's a lapper in front of him. And then the ongoing battle between Sprague and Irvin. I'm proud. I haven't called him Irwin yet, nor the other way around, although knock wood, it'll probably take about 1 minute for those 2 guys to do that.
Last lap, Kenny Irwin and Jack Sprague of the top 6 trucks did in fact run the fastest lap.
Next guy in line, and being, I think, rather conservative here today, and actually throughout the weekend. The LCI Ford Roush Racing Stable entry of Joe Ruttman.
The winner just 2 weeks ago at Sears Point. And Dave Resendez, man, that was so sad.
Could you believe that? 3 to go. Resendez just stuffed her in the tire wall. Who was it? Said they thought he must be making up his victory speech and lost his concentration a little bit.
There's Keselowski, the winner at Richmond in the Dodge, has moved into the 6th spot.
Bob's having a pretty good run here today. Qualified inside row 4. He was the second fastest Dodge in qualifying as Lance Norrick had the National Hockey League truck up front. But Norrick has gone backward and Keselowski has gone forward and is now showing in the 6th spot.
And Mike Wallace, we saw him just a moment ago in 6th. He's being passed by Keselowski. Mike Wallace wanted me to say happy birthday to his cousin, Kenny Daigle. So Kenny, like I said, happy birthday. Sorry he couldn't be there for it.
There's Hornaday, who has gone forward. That is a position fight for 8th, and the man he is leading is Tolsma. Such a great story last week when he won at Mesa Marin. Only his 13th start in a truck, and he wins in the Dole Pineapple Chevrolet from 13th starting position. It may have some significance that he starts 13th again here this weekend. But what I like about this story is that this guy was up in Indianapolis. He was racing the open wheel cars. He wanted to come south. He wanted to do the NASCAR thing. Crashed an IRL car trying to get in the 8500. Made the decision. I'm going down south. Didn't even have a place to live. He and his wife move into a room above the shop. And if they wanted to watch TV, they had to go down and put up the satellite dish on the hauler. That's how tight things were, because this guy wanted to race trucks. Half a season later, he's out there winning in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It was really a heartwarming victory for Randy Tolsma.
And Michael Waltrip has taken the Band-Aid truck. Started 27th. He's moved into 10th spot, and he's closing right up on the back bumper of these guys. There's 3 or 4 positions right in front of him. And obviously the experience that Michael Waltrip has on these racetracks is sure helping him today.
Yeah, I think Doc called that early on when he pointed out that guys like Kyle Petty have been running in the draft for a lot of years and developed a lot of experience and have learned all the tricks. And in fact, there's Kyle up on the outside of, who is that, Barfield, I guess, as this big pack worked their way off turn 4. There's a lot of drafting going on right there.
Yes, and that other green truck is Butch Miller. That's a different color for him this year. As Kyle Petty goes by on the outside, that 75 car truck is Kevin Harvick. Rob Rizzo's in there, the second yellow truck. First one is Tony Raines. That's the Pennzoil truck right in front of Kyle Petty. Meanwhile, Boris Said in the back is making it. Is he going to make it 3 abreast? No, he decides. That's Boris in the 44 truck. And that is Rob Rizzo at 27.
Boris truck, the Federated Auto Parts 1-800-COLLECT onboard view that you saw there, right there. Boris truck, of course, is owned by Ernie Irvin. Ernie Irvin is up front in this race.
You 3 got to work together a little bit here and catch that group again.
Here's the first of our pit stops. This is Miller coming in for service from the Walker Evans crew. The point I want to make about Irvin is that he's actually driving the Martinsville truck because Boris Said crashed Ernie's primary truck out here when they came to test just before Sears Point. Boris had a terrible time. Crashed the boss's truck and then had the incident at Sears Point with the fine and all the rest of that.
Guys, they put up 2 cans in the back of that 20 truck. I can't believe that it's going to take over 35 gallons to run. Wow, and the 43 truck is coming in.
13th place truck comes to pit road. These are scheduled fuel stops.
And he's down in turn.
He's stopped.
He's in turn 2.
Yeah, there's
if he ran out of fuel, Jerry Punch, what's going on?
Well, just the kind of luck Jimmy Hensley has had all year long. He came off turn 2 and said, guys, I've got no oil pressure. I got to shut it off. So he is headed for pit road.
And that will be the first engine problem that 43 truck has had all year long. The question is now, will he be able to coast all the way back?
Long racetrack. He's got a long way to go, and we don't have a caution yet. Butch Miller pitted for fuel, but most of these guys are waiting for a yellow to replenish the fuel supply. Here's Richard Petty's team frustrated. Jimmy Hensley losing an engine. Yeah, he's going pretty slow over there.
He's up between 3 and 4 now. He's still rolling.
No caution yet.
He might make it, and if he is not able to continue, this will be his first did not finish of the year.
We remember the frustrations, though, for Jimmy Hensley, the loss in the final restart at Indianapolis Raceway Park for one of several. Now today, the heartbreak of blowing an engine here on the big racetrack. We will have no yellow because Hensley has made it around to pit road, and we jump back up front with Mike Bliss, who's now opened it up to 4.6 seconds. Bliss, who needs a win badly. He had 2 last year, has not had one yet this year. Bliss is on a march. Meanwhile, the 98 truck of Kenny Irwin Jr. comes to pit road and makes his scheduled fuel stop.
Clean the grill, get debris off there. The can goes up. I do not see a second can back on the wall. Okay, go.
Oh my God, he's gone.
And we see some heavy smoke out of the brake in that right front. That was brakes. Jerry Punch.
And the reason Kenny Irwin is pitting at the far end of pit road is they were the last ones to go pick their pit. They got so excited about what's going to happen here today. They were the last guys to go pick a pit, and they got the last pit selection as finally Jimmy Hensley's truck rolls to a halt, and Mike Bliss is headed to you, Marty.
Yes, and the crew is ready. We're on lap 39. Race leader Mike Bliss making his way all the way down the other end. He's at the far end at pit out, the very first pit, and we're still waiting for him. And right next to him will be the 24 pit of Jack Sprague. And as soon as they saw the Team ASC team get ready, they got geared up as well. So here comes Bliss, and this literally, they only got to get about 20 more laps, so this will be a time stop. And then if you peel it to your right, there you'll see Jack Sprague also in the pits at the same time, and they are going out.
And so the 2 fastest trucks here this weekend, Bliss's number 2 and the green number 24 of Jack Sprague, will be in position to draft together as they go back out after the refueling. Jerry?
All right, the pit stop's continuing here as Rick Crawford comes in and the pit board actually falls in front of his truck as they will try to possibly get a pit stop. Ernie Irvin waiting on Ernie to come down pit road. 55 miles an hour, a lot of congestion. Jerry Baxter, the crew, will put in 1 can of fuel. There is some paper in the front grill of the Federated Ford, and a crew member takes the paper away. They make a chassis adjustment, trying to loosen up Ernie's truck. Very, very tight. The same thing happened in the Whistler Cup, and Ernie is away. Let's go back to Marty.
And with the cycling, this is second place Joe Rutledge, third in the points. They're pulling the front end out, trying to make an adjustment to give him a little more downforce in the front end. He's got the fuel. He's away.
Irvin is not coming back up to speed. Or our check that Morris said is not coming back up to speed very quickly here. See if we can pick up radio traffic to indicate what the problem might be.
He says we're done. That's too bad.
He was second at Texas, had a great run, and now we hear that perhaps it is the rear end failure that has knocked him out.
He's still coasting, but he's awfully slow.
What could he have meant by that? He said, do we need a caution? Who would we be? He's got teammates with Ernie. I don't know. He's going to make it, I think. We have not had a yellow thus far.
Was he able to make it back to the garage? Nope.
When
he's pulling off in the grass, we will have a caution flag.
For that, yeah.
He's in the grass in turn 4, parked.
He's parked at turn 4. I wonder how many trucks. The Chuck Bound is not
Yellow's
stopped.
waving.
The yellow flag is waving, and right now we only have 21 trucks in the lead lap.
This is Barry Bodine's bunch, and they're pretty excited, too, because they had not stopped.
That's Chuck Bound's bunch, the leader of the race. There.
So Bound is going to be in excellent shape here as he gets the opportunity to pit under the yellow. Everybody else having done so under the green. There, as Boris said, out of the truck and frustrated and disappointed. He says, well, that's the end of that. Well on the big track. Jimmy Hensley has retired and is now with one of our pit reporters, Jerry Punch.
Well, last year's most popular driver, Jimmy, a short day for you here in California. What put you out?
Jerry looked like a motor tightened up coming off turn 4. you know, the Cummins Dodge was running decent. They was a little too tight. Was going to adjust at halftime. We was hanging in there in the top, you know, 10, 12. Looking for a good day. Just not going to happen today, though.
But the good news, this is the first time you've had an engine problem all year. Maurice Petty's motors have been almost bulletproof.
Well, they have. You know, Maurice and Tim and Rich and Martin all have done a great job building the motors this year. You know, today just one of those things that happened. You know, we got the motor a little hot yesterday doing a qualifying run. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but, you know, that's part of racing. We'll come back next couple weeks and go to Phoenix, see if we can do a little better job.
All right, Jimmy Hensley currently 6th in the points, just 33 behind Hornaday in 5th. And this early exit could cost him dearly with just 2 events remaining.
Forrest said headed back to pit road, accepting the consolation of the safety crew there as his truck is pushed back down toward the Urban Semo pits.
He just waited a few minutes. He could have gotten a ride in the wrecker or his truck, see?
He didn't want anything.
He left too soon.
Yeah. Could have saved him a little work.
That flag back there signifies that the pit road is still closed. So there's Chuck Bound, if he's to run out of fuel, cannot pit until that green flag is waved there at pit entrance.
Forrest is a road racer, and those guys are used to walking back in from you know, the nether reaches of 4- and 5-mile racetracks, so that's how he stays in such good shape. Take a look at your rundown here as Chuck Bound moves to the top of the heap here, having stayed out while everybody else pitted for fuel. Bliss, who has led the majority of the laps here today, now a 2nd and a 3rd back, starting on the pole. There's the rest of the field. Kyle Petty has moved forward after an average qualifying run. Compton has moved up pretty nicely. Crawford has gone backward in an early incident, but managed to gather the truck back up, stay out of trouble. And now the pits will open. And those who have not pitted will come in for fuel, led by the race leader, Chuck Bound.
As you can see, that list of people that trucks that's going to pit is very, very short. Marty Reed?
Well, the big thing for the XI team, if you remember, if it had stayed green, they were running towards the 2/3 of the pack back in 26, 27 spot. They'd have gone a lap down. By now coming in, as they are right now, they're just going to go back to the tail end of the lead lap, and that means they won't lose position. And wait a minute, Jack Sprague is coming back in. Maybe they didn't get enough fuel in. And that looks like what it is. They are putting fuel back in, so he's going to lose a lot of valuable track position. He's going to go from 2nd, probably back to 23rd position.
Wow. That's big. We saw 2 cans go in earlier. That was a bit of a surprise. We'll be back with more after this. You ride with Mike Bliss, who has a nearly 4-second lead that is about to evaporate because we're just a couple of laps away from the mid-race break, at which point they will all start even up again. We look ahead to the weekend, NFL Prime Monday at 7:30 on ESPN. Mike Tirico and his crew reviewing all of tomorrow's action in the NFL. And, of course, previewing the big Monday night game on ABC. It'll be the Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. ABC Monday Night Football. Benny, I'm thinking back to Texas. Don't I remember Mike Bliss with a big lead at Texas?
Exactly right. A lead about like this. Had a right front tire go flat. I think ended up finishing about 5th or 6th. And that truck, Kenny Irwin, the 98 Rebestos truck, was in fact the winner in Texas.
Kenny Irwin doing a pretty good job today with Ernie Irvin. And Irvin, in turn, is doing a pretty good job racing what is essentially a short track truck on a very big racetrack. Ernie laughed when he said that, you know, Boris came here and crashed my truck, and I'm not exactly sure why Boris was in my truck when he crashed, but he did. And so Ernie had to come here with a short track truck, and he's headed in the top 3 for most of the day. The yellow is about to fly at the end of lap 60, bringing to a close the first segment of this 100-lap, 200-mile no-fear challenge at the California Speedway. It's some big winners and some big losers thus far. Notable among the winners is Hornaday, the defending series champion. There he is, as he moves up into 4th. So we are into the mid-race break now. They'll come on, circulate back around, and then go to pit road for what in some cases, Benny, will be some much-needed service. Rich Bickle, for example, 2 laps down in 31st place.
They might wax that 2 truck and put a little fuel in it, I'll tell you that.
If you were the team manager, you would be very conservative with the changes.
Exactly. Might put a little wax on the nose.
You made a point, though, earlier, and that is that he hadn't had to race anybody the whole first half, and behind him, the rest of those guys got a little opportunity to see what their trucks would do.
That's right. So if someone can run with him, his truck might not be as good as it is out there by himself.
That truck has not been tested today. We haven't seen anybody shove the nose up under that tailgate and see if they can get Mike Bliss loose. So there are still some unknowns for this guy, but he has really dominated this race. Over 4 seconds is the lead as we take the Napa Field summary at the end of lap 60. This is the back half of the field. Cannot overemphasize the extent to which there is rivalry between those top two guys, Kenny Irwin and Mike Bliss. Sparks fly when those two get close together. There's the tail end of the field as the trucks get set to come to pit road, and Marty and Jerry get set to go to work. For 60 of 100 laps, Mike Bliss has dominated this no fear challenge. Now we're down to the final 40 to see if anybody has anything for him. Meanwhile, on the gridirons of America, ESPN2 remaining very, very busy. College football coverage continuing tonight at 6 o'clock. The number 4 Tar Heels versus the Wolfpack at North Carolina in-state shootout. And then at 9 o'clock, the number 21 Georgia Bulldogs meet the Commodores in SEC matchup. Watch all the action on ESPN2. You're home for college football. Benny, do I sound like I know anything about that? No, of course not. But Jerry does. He's a football guy. Jerry.
Hey, that one coming up at 6 o'clock Eastern time from Carter Finley Stadium should be a barn burner. North Carolina unbeaten. The quarterback controversy. Oscar Davenport is the guy that's moved their offense. Chris Keldorf, he's the throwing guy. He's the guy that may have to start today. And the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, we had him a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. What a running back they've got in Tremaine Stevens. An arch rivalry, a sold-out Carter Finley Stadium. That's coming up at 6 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce.
But you know why he knows so much about that? He's a graduate of North Carolina State.
Played quarterback there. Still makes me crazy, though, because he knows more. I mean, I don't want to get into it. It's all I can do to keep racing straight, and he can do that in his spare time. Here's your race recap. Bliss is basically running away with the thing. He lost the lead for the 7 laps because of the yellow and the exchange with Bound, and the fact he was able to stay out on the racetrack and lead it for a while. We have had 5 lead changes. Just a couple of laps of caution there. 2 cautions for 6 laps. Keeping that average speed up there at 151 miles an hour. Man, they sail around this place. That's hustling a pickup truck. There you see the lap leaders thus far. Bliss, absolutely dominant. The drivers who have dropped out are Said, Hensley, Kirk, and George with a variety of difficulties. Only 4 retirees from the race thus far. And Rich Bickle, a very big story here today, having fallen 2 laps down early on with an ill-handling truck. There's a look at the truck that started 3rd here today. Lance Norick has kind of been up and down the ladder, currently in 22nd spot. I don't know anything about hockey either, but I can tell you that truck is sponsored by the National Hockey League. And in all likelihood, we will tell you now about the big hockey game, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks versus the Phoenix Coyotes. That is subject to blackout. That'll be Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Those 2 teams squared off in a 7-game opening round series last spring that saw the Ducks prevail, so it's a bit of a rematch. Marty's going to talk about a truck. He's not going to talk about hockey. Marty, it's yours.
Well, I don't mind hockey. It's a great sport. Hey, the only truck in the top 6 that we didn't get a chance to talk about was Joe Ruttman. Checked in with the crew. They, too, want to try and get a little more horsepower to catch up with Bliss. So they have taped up the front end a little more, trying to make it run a little hotter. And they also took a track bar adjustment, trying to get it to loosen up just a touch.
We've had a couple of impressive charges through the field. Hornaday from 25th to 4th, as Doc mentioned, and Waltrip from 27th to 6th position. They both kind of stalled out once they got to those spots, Benny. That's as far forward as they were able to move. Do you see anybody there that looks like a most likely candidate to go up and challenge Bliss?
It doesn't look like it. Just depends on what the changes and the tires that they put on at this halfway break, if they make a difference. What we saw in the first half, no one can touch Bliss, but his tires may be a little bit off. Kenny Irwin's, Ernie Irwin's, they may be a little bit better. As the green flag comes up, we won't have long to find out. And Joe Ruttman is not going.
Uh-oh.
Did not go.
Something broke just as Morgan's green flag went in the air, and Ruttman has dropped her down onto the apron. This looks serious. The Roush Racing number 80 third in the championship standings, 184 out of the lead. Meanwhile, up front, the scramble continues. 4 wide, now 5 wide at the tail end of the top 10.
And that green truck on the outside with the yellow swoosh is the leader, the points leader, Jack Sprague, as he is back in traffic. And here they come off the corner. And Hornaday trying to take over, has taken over third spot. And Ernie Irvin hung up on the outside, and here goes Irvin on the outside. So they go in the corner, 3 abreast, 4 abreast, as Michael Walter takes a look on the inside.
A lot of lap traffic in the middle of that mix as Hornaday finally starts to clear, and that's Waltrip off his rear deck as they currently run third and fourth, having worked their way past Ernie Irvin. Let's find out what happened to Joe Ruttman, Marty.
Well, the guys down here are waiting for him. They say it's either the transmission or the rear end. And I wonder if this is an omen of things to come for some other people. Remember, we're running some speeds these guys aren't used to.
Barely a broken gear for Joe Ruttman. That has been the downfall. Actually, the rear end problem has been the downfall for Ron Hornaday. The last 3 stops, he's gone behind the wall.
And the 28 truck, Ernie Irvin, is falling backwards. The truck that was running in second, third spot before at the break is going backwards, now back to 6th spot.
Hornaday and Waltrip got by him quickly, but for Ernie, the problem apparently is that the adjustments just didn't work. He is falling back dramatically in a truck that looked as good as any out there during the first half.
And there we see Jack Sprague as he tries to climb his way back to the front. He's back up to 10th spot.
Take your time, Jack. 40 laps in the second segment. Rick Crawford, you see in the mix there, had a huge incident on the first lap, almost hit the wall twice, and is now patiently going back up into 11th spot. So that's going to be good for his chances in terms of the Cintas Rookie of the Year, the blue number 14. Oh, Ernie seems to have stabilized for the moment. Going to stop the backslide. I'm not sure whether that was an aerodynamic issue. It didn't look like he got trapped out, but he kept driving by.
And Sprague guys to the outside of Ron Barfield. That's Barfield in the yellow 35 Ortho truck. And I'm told that Barfield will drive this 35 truck next year, or that's what the plans are right now, to be the driver for Charles Hardy in the 35 as Crawford goes by on the outside. Brand new truck for that blue 14, Circle Bar. By the way, the guy that owns the Circle Bar truck stop down in Ozona, Texas, his birthday today. So happy birthday, Tom Mitchell.
There you see the consistency of Jack Sprague, and in NASCAR, that is the key to championships. Let's get the bottom line on Ruttman. He's in the garage area.
Yeah, Joe Ruttman with the crew members trying to work on the transmission, and boy, what happened?
I don't know. It sounded like the cluster give up in the transmission. You know, I'm not sure. But it's something to do with the transmission. I'm not sure what it is, though.
Well, this is almost devastatingly deadly to your championship hopes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a devastating blow. We knew we couldn't afford any more, bumper runs, but the guys have been digging real hard on this LCI truck, and the Rouse guys are really great. We just run into some bad luck. I would have never thought we would have, but we got a couple races yet we can win. So and we run pretty good here. We're just easing up on her. That felt pretty good.
There's also action going on in the 28 truck. Jerry.
I just asked Jerry back to the crew chief for Ernie Irvin. What happened after the halfway point? Did you have a problem? He said, no, Ernie said the lap trucks are out there in the way, and he's trying to be very, very careful, picking his way through. Now, once he's picked his way through, he's now moved right up on the back of Michael Waltrip in the number 1. But Ernie said, hey, we don't have many trucks left. We certainly can't afford to lose one here.
Doesn't look like that truck's behaving quite the way Ernie would like. He saw it push a little in the corner, and he lost ground to Waltrip as Refner comes on pit road with problems in the number 66, which was inside the top 20 when the former Cintas Rookie of the Year driver pulled on to pit road. There's your leader, Bliss, and the interval is a little over a second, but look at the number 52 of Mike Wallace. He's up there in 4th and harassing Hornaday, and for the second week in a row, Wallace got a good truck.
There's a great run going the Pure Later truck at Kenny Schrader's. Now you see those, when they get to the corner, we see the truck back up a little bit. That's what we've been talking about. When you back up a car length or two, you get more air on the nose of the truck, and the air helps plant the nose. If you pull up right on the back bumper or tailgate of that truck in front, you lose that downforce. You go in the corner and turn the steering wheel, and the car just wants to drift straight towards the outside retaining wall.
And we saw early on a couple of moments when the front truck in line got a little loose as well. So it's scary when they get close together. We'll take a break and be right back. Nobody in sight out front for Mike Bliss, and nobody very close out the back either. 6.5-second lead right now for Bliss, who has dominated this race in California. Hey, now you can really drive on the Information Superhighway, www.nascar.com. NASCAR Online, featuring live timing and scoring, following Busch Pole qualifying, live for each of NASCAR's top 3 racing divisions. Keep track of the running order, the lap times, the average speeds, the progress of each competitor in NASCAR's 3 top divisions. NASCAR Online. They will also tell you who has trouble. Right now that list is led by Jay Sauter. Hood is up on the good wrench number 3. Marty.
Yeah, the word from the crew is he may have dropped a cylinder, so Jay Sauter was hoping for big things, just isn't going to come to pass.
Sauter, 7th in points, was at the tail end of the top 20, showing an 18th spot as he brought the truck to pit road. Been kind of an up-and-down season for Jay. Big shoes there to fill. Caution is on the Speedway. A 7-second lead has gone away because Rob Rizzo got out of shape. And that means that everybody's going to come right back up to Mike Bliss's bumper. They do not race back to the yellow in this division, which I think is very smart. Rob Rizzo bringing out the 3rd caution of the day at a very crucial juncture for Mr. Mike Bliss, although, Benny, I haven't seen a chink in that armor today. They're not going to let him stop and adjust those trucks one more time.
Well, they can stop and adjust the trucks, but they will not go back in the same spot that they left pit road, because not all cars will go in. Let's see if we can see what happened to Rizzo. Already in progress going in the corner. I tell you what, he does a pretty good job. He does do a 360, but he does not hit anything. Whoops.
That's a wild ride.
That is a wild ride. Wow.
Because you don't want to hit anything here.
Not if you can help it.
There's another view of it.
People on top of their cameras got a good view of that.
He was doing some steering, and Rizzo manages to keep it out of the wall. We've had a little wall contact during the course of this weekend. Rick Johnson smacked his truck into the wall and cost him a shot at qualifying. And in the Busch division, you're going to see Kevin Schwantz make his Busch debut tomorrow. And, man, he clobbered the wall tomorrow.
And let's see if all the trucks will stay on the racetrack. I would guess only the cars at the end of the line, tail end of the lead lap, if they have a problem with pit. But it looks like so far none of the leaders will be, in fact, coming in.
Yeah, they're going to have to get Bliss with what they got. And so far, Bliss appears to have a little bit more. But we'll be back to find out all about that with 83 laps complete, 17 to go. No Fear Challenge, California Speedway, getting down to the short end. 84 laps are complete, 16 to go. On Monday night, NFL Prime Monday at 7:30 Eastern Time with Mike Tirico and the gang. They're looking back at all the Sunday stuff that happened on the gridiron, and then they turn their attention to Monday night's big game. That, of course, is ABC Monday Night Football. We'll have the Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts starting live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. Mike Bliss has dominated here today at Fontana, but right now he's got his old USAC rival Kenny Irwin right behind him. You take a pickup truck and stick it out there at the wind at 180 miles an hour, and a lot of bizarre things happen aerodynamically, and that has been the focus of some NASCAR rule making. Jerry Punch can give us all the details.
In an effort to help balance aerodynamics of these trucks in the Craftsman Series, some subtle changes have been invoked for the final 3 events of 1997, starting right here at the Super Speedway in California. Now, up front, what they've done is they have raised the front valence. What was a minimum of 3.5-inch ground clearance now must be 4 inches from the pavement. They've also told the teams you can push this front valence out 1 inch past the front bumper. Previously, you were allowed just a 1/2 inch of kick out in the front valence. Now, across the front fenders, you can now flare the fenders to a maximum of 80 inches from this fender across to the other side. Previously, you were allowed a maximum width of 77. And also you're allowed an option, what is called a wicker lip, a gurney lip. A half-inch lip can be put on the inside of the front fender right there. And what that does is help stall air coming around the front fender and puts more downforce on the front of the truck. This is not mandatory. This is purely an option for the teams. Now, other changes in the back of the truck primarily involve the rear spoiler. Previously, the spoiler had to be 6 inches maximum in height. Here, for the remainder of the season, it's now a 7-inch blade, tilted at 55 degrees minimum. This provides much more downforce and much more stability for the back of the truck. All the drivers in the garage area have applauded these changes, so much so that look for all of these to become a part of the 1998 Craftsman Truck Series rulebook.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. Get back in your fire suit. Tolsma, get that pineapple hauler back out there in 8th spot. We're about ready to go back live and racing at Fontana as we get the green back in the air with 15 laps to go to find out if anybody can touch Mike Bliss, seeking his first victory of 1997.
I think the next question, can Jack Sprague overcome a huge mistake in the first half and still gain a tremendous amount of points on this vehicle? Sprague now is working his way back to the 10th spot as Kevin Harvick is trying his best. And look at Ron Hornaday moved into the 2nd spot, and Harvick trying to get a lap back. A group of trucks off to 2nd corner right behind the leader, Bliss.
Harvick now moves down to the inside to let the fast guys go. Hornaday will come out of the 2nd spot, and there goes Wallace taking a look at the inside, but could not get around Kenny Irwin Jr.
And look at Bliss accelerate off the corner and just drive away.
Wallace that time slipping up the hill a little bit, but yeah, you're right. Bliss is just so fast. That's been a good one all weekend.
And once again, Mike Wallace drives to the inside, trying to get by the 98 truck of Irwin. Can't quite make it.
Tell you what, he's trying every bit of the racetrack out there. If the race ended now, Sprague would lead by 120 over Bickle. It was 56 coming in. And now as the 98 takes his truck all the way up against the wall, Kenny Irwin Jr., here comes the freight train on the bottom. It is led by Hornaday with Mike Wallace in tow. And
oh, they're going to be three abreast off the corner.
Kenny Irwin Jr. just kept his foot in it and held on for a moment. But now Wallace will go by on the bottom, and Harvick says, okay, I'll follow you.
And Barfield, the yellow truck on the outside, he's up there a lap down.
Chance to get in there and race with the good guys, get some experience. Careful, boys. Don't want to cause trouble for the defending series champion. There's 12 laps to go, but Hornaday, who's gotten as high as 2nd, now appears to be in trouble. He's back to 4th and falling as Michael Waltrip goes by.
And that's Ernie Irvin on the outside. He's trying to go by. Meanwhile, Mike Wallace has moved into 2nd spot. There's the white truck going by. And Sprague, he's on the outside trying to get by Hornaday. And there he goes.
Man.
And there goes Tolsma by Hornaday. Losing spots right and left.
This is all happening right around 170 miles an hour. These guys are cooking. Shuffling the deck at high speed. Got a yellow. Oh, it's Rizzo again. Rizzo this time was not so lucky. He has clobbered the wall. And now with 11 laps to go, they'll get yet another shot at Mike Bliss. Man, that was some wild action just before the yellow came out. Unrelated, I think, to Rizzo's incident because he was not running in that group. They were shaking and baking in that 2nd through 10th place battle. Here's what happened to Rob.
Oh, he's Crawford on the outside. They evidently make contact. Rizzo goes up and smacks that wall with the left side.
That is a pretty hard hit for Rob Rizzo, the Trans Am racer out of New York. Dad owns a big car dealership, and after giving the road race wars a bit of a tussle, they decided, let's try this truck deal. And as the safety crews come to his aid, there's Barry Dodson looking on as Mike Bliss tries to pull off the win here. We'll be right back. Big grandstand holds a lot of people. We heard estimates of 40,000 today for the truck race. You can see they've more than half filled the place, and that's good news for this series. I'll tell you what, half the state of Carolina will be turned out or tuned in for the big race, big game tonight. ESPN continuing its college football coverage with North Carolina and North Carolina State. That will be coming up at 6 o'clock, and then we'll go to the Georgia-Vanderbilt battle. The Bulldogs and the Commodores following at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's all on your home for college football, ESPN 2. Cleanup continuing for Rob Rizzo as he went up and slapped the wall with the driver's side of the truck, and now they're getting hooked on and going to get the thing pulled away. Meanwhile, the lap counter showing 91 down, and Benny, that means the complexion of things will change a bit.
Well, that's right. We saw Kevin Harvick and we saw the 35 truck of Barfield up there racing with the leaders a moment ago as they tried to get a lap back. That will not happen. Now, the 10-lap rule, all the lead lap trucks will be in single file in front of the lap trucks. As we see, this is the reason for the caution flag. Rob Rizzo, this is 27 truck. Rick Crawford was on the outside. Crawford running in 10th spot. I guess took the air off the 27 truck, and around he goes. And they had to get the wrecker hooked up to the truck, pull it away from the wall so they could talk to Rizzo or he could get out of the truck.
As the cleanup continues on this number 27 incident, the guy who's trying to become the first ever to win a Winston Cup championship and a truck championship as a crew chief is preparing to talk on your television set, Jerry.
Well, that's 44-year-old Barry Dodson. And Barry, this brings back memories of '89 when you and Rusty Wallace had them covered in Winston Cup. Boy, what a day. What an effort for you and Mike Bliss.
Well, you know, we're overdue. It'd be a shame if this kid couldn't win today. He certainly deserves it. The truck's been flawless. Robert Yates motor, man, I mean, if we get the truck close, the horsepower just takes over. And here we are again. We were in the same seat last week, and you know, it's not over until it's over. And our concern right now, we hope Rob Rizzo's okay. He crashed down in turn 2. He's a good little friend of ours, but we're hoping and praying. You know, we're overdue. It would really do a lot for the team. Our Ford's been awesome.
Well, 9 top 5 finishes, yet you have not gone to victory lane. 3 wins. He won in the first year, won twice last year. I got to ask you, where'd you get your cheering section up here behind you?
They were here. They happened to be here. Watch this.
How about that? They brought their own cheering section 3,000 miles to California, pulling from Mike Bliss. And, guys, it just might work.
Dodson, you keep cheerleading like that, we're going to put you in a short skirt, buddy, and I know you won't like that. Mike Bliss, his driver, looking for the victory here this afternoon. It would be his first of the year, and it would be the 6th, or check that, the 8th this year from the pole. He claimed a season-best 5th pole. That's Bliss's 5th pole of the year. He's not been one of the 8 drivers to win from the pole this year, so he has truly been the hard luck guy in 1997. Jimmy Smith, the owner, said, "We saved all our best stuff for this one. We want to win today." Accumulating caution laps here in what was a relatively clean race for the first 60, but now we're under caution because of this spin for Rob Rizzo, possibly after a touch with Rick Crawford. There he goes around, drops the wall with the driver's side.
And Crawford did a great job not to lose his truck, but you're right. Some pretty good contact with the left side. I'm told the NASCAR officials tell me he is okay. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but we'll find out.
Keep you posted. It looks like he was sliding around like it was a hockey game out there or something. And speaking of hockey, we have ESPN2 coverage. Fire on ice, Anaheim Mighty Ducks versus the Phoenix Coyotes. 2 teams that squared off in a 7-game opening round series last spring. The Ducks came out on top then. We'll see if the Phoenix guys can turn that around. Tuesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Pacific. NHL, meanwhile, sponsoring Lance Norrick's truck here today, and that's a top 20 piece of equipment as the Dodge, which started 3rd, sits in 20th spot right now. Yes, you are on television. Nice glasses. Part of the big crowd that's turned down here in Fontana. That's good to see, too, Benny. I mean, we knew the Cup race was going to sell out, but to see this kind of enthusiasm for the truck series. And I like the big display of the big show of trucks that they've got going. They've kind of put the whole package together here this weekend.
Folks, when we drove in today, they had all kinds of trucks here. Old trucks, new trucks, customized trucks, brand new trucks. And it was really a show to see.
Stacy Compton has stopped under this yellow for a substantial chassis adjustment as he tries to improve on his 17th position. He's the last truck on the lead lap. 10 different winners and 7 first-time winners this year. Those are both records, and that's good. We've seen the heirs to Mike Skinner demonstrate a little more variety in terms of who could get to victory lane. First couple of years, it got a little monotonous watching that Black 3 win all the races, but this year's been very, very competitive. Here is one of the 2 drivers who won last year who has not won this year. That is Rick Corelli. And with that stop by Compton, he will now be the last truck on the lead lap in 17th starting spot. The other truck that has won last year and not won this year, as we indicated, is Mike Bliss, who is in position to win this thing just 6 laps from now. There they are. Bliss won twice last year. Corelli once. Neither has done it this year, but Bliss is fixing to, as they say down here next to the Penny.
It looks like the lights are out atop the pace truck. So that means that when half lap from now, on lap 95, the trucks will be given the green flag, and they'll have 5 laps to settle this situation. As we see Rizzo's truck being hauled back on the rollback. That rollback will make a left now and drive through the infield, not have to go all the way around the racetrack. I think that's a good policy.
Yep. Wasted no time getting this thing going again after what was, in fact, a long yellow. There was a little concern about Rob because they'd hit the wall with the driver's side. Couldn't get in there to help him out, but all indications are he's okay. And so now with the truck out of the way, we'll quickly get back to a restart and have a 5-lap shootout to decide the first running of the No Fear Challenge here in Fontana, California, built on the side of the steel mill where the Terminator movie was filmed. Terminator was a pretty tough cat, but I don't think a bit tougher than Mike Bliss has been here today. This is probably going to be the last shot that second place Mike Wallace and third place Kenny Irwin Jr., fourth place Ernie Irvin, and fifth place Jack Sprague are going to get. The leader Mike Bliss.
The yellow truck is last week's winner, Randy Tolsman.
Go.
And we heard Barry Dawson say, go. Very simple.
Get the rock out.
And Keselowski, the 7th place truck, seemed to get an awful start. Maybe he's laying back to get a good run. Right now, Irwin's trying to get a run. That's Kenny Irwin's 3rd place truck. He and Ernie Irvin joined up as Bliss is getting a challenge from Mike Wallace.
Wallace wants to get around him so bad, but nobody's been able to do that all day. Doesn't take him long to get back to pretty good velocity here at this big 2-mile racetrack on the outskirts of L.A. Bliss's thing is just so good and been so good all day.
This is the point that he's been really stealing the competition. As they exit the corner, he's been driving away. Right now, it's Kenny Irwin trying to go by Mike Wallace for 2nd spot.
Bliss is loving this. Stay side by side, guys. Thank you very much. I'll just drive away from you. But, of course, now these guys are down to the point where the difference between 2nd and 3rd is pretty significant in terms of money and points, so they're going to have to race for position. And as they do so, they just hand Bliss a free ride. Look at that gap grow.
And Mike Wallace trying to drive in on the outside of Irwin as they battle for position. I think right now that they understand that Mike Bliss is going to win this race. And now the only choice, the only thing to be decided is who's going to run second.
And Mike Wallace will settle for that. His best truck finishes 6th at Milwaukee. He was 7th last week. Looked like he had a shot at winning last week. The motor started intermittently dropping a cylinder. Cost him the opportunity to win. Kenny Schrader has supported this series from the get-go as the owner of that number 52 truck. Spent some pretty good money to put Mike Wallace in the thing, and they're really, really needing some results. So Mike's eager as he works his way by, and now brings Ernie Irvin.
Oh, the contact between those 2 trucks.
Man.
Irvin in the 28, the 44 made contact. Now, Mike Wallace back in 2nd spot.
Cut him a little short there. I think he thought he was clear. Came down across the nose of Kenny Irwin Jr.'s truck. Kenny managed to keep the thing in a straight line, and that battle rages on for 2nd spot. Mike Bliss building a 2nd and a quarter lead. Wallace, Irwin, and Irvin side by side, and Irwin will pull back in front of Irvin, giving him about 2 inches more room than he did with the other way around.
Ernie Irvin tried to drive on the outside of Mike Wallace that time. It cost him trying to go for 2nd. It cost him 3rd.
Man, and here's Sprague sitting behind those two Fords thinking, now how am I going to get around those guys so I can get a top 3 out of this deal?
Once again, there goes the leader on the left side, right at the bottom of your screen. This is a battle. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Mike Wallace, the big German truck, is second.
White flag will fly. 1 to go. 1 to decide second spot. Mike Bliss is en route to his first victory of 1997. He last won at I-70 Speedway in July of 96. This is the shootout. As we watch Mike, there's the gap. Who's going to make the move as they hit turn 3 and 4 for the final time? Irwin staying right in line. Kenny Irwin Jr., but Ernie Irvin comes up around the outside to make a doorpost to doorpost.
And that's going to let Mike Wallace run second spot. Now then we see those trucks slamming off each other. Once again, slamming off each other as they come to the line. And it's Irwin.
Man, they never quit beating on each other. That was amazing. Kenny Irwin Jr. hangs on to third spot over Ernie Irvin. But there is the celebration. Wow.
This thing was a frickin' rocket.
Mike Bliss wins it. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
What do they want?
Guys, you're not going to believe this. Barry Dotson put the headset on me during the last lap, said, Doc, you got to listen to what he's saying. Our driver called the whole last lap play-by-play from the cockpit. Hey, Barry, congratulations.
I can't believe it. We needed to keep our string going. Mike's won a race every year, and Hornaday was the only guy that's kept that going so far. And like to say hey to the guy back at the shop. A lot of people leave 10 or 12 at home. My little brother Brad's back there working, helping us to get better. And thank the good Lord. Ford, Yates, I hope all you guys were watching. Wagner Brakes, Snap-on Tools, we just outworked them this week. That Valvoline, we put it to a beating, and Buddy, it took it. But awesome win for us. I told the guys this morning, we've been talking about it. Our team gets stronger. We never roll over. We always get stronger, and we never say die.
All right, Barry Dotson will head to victory lane, and Mike Bliss has that left fist out the window. That's the no fear salute. We'll hear from the winner in victory lane in just a moment. Stay with us.
We'll hear from the race winner and the other top finishers in just a moment.
We're back. The Bliss Blitz is complete. He has led 93 of the 100 laps here and won it. Let's go to Marty in victory lane.
3 times this year you've been second place. You said you were going to do it here. You did. You led 93 laps. Congratulations.
Man, this thing was dominant, wasn't it? Boy, it's AC Ford, Barry Dotson, the crew. Guy at home for putting the body on this truck. He's a fabulous fabricator. And Robert Yates, hell of a motor. And Bill Pink, who tunes on it. Man, this thing was a rocket all day. I just drove around and felt like I was on I-10.
Hey, well, he's going on I-10 to the airport tonight with the trophy, and he may have a new job calling play-by-play, huh, Dave?
Meanwhile, we had some great action as they came to the checkered flag. We'll have another look at that as they went beating on each other for third spot right down to the wire. Ernie Irvin on the outside, hammering with Kenny Irwin Jr. Irwin held on to claim the spot. And then on the cool-off lap,
Ladies and gentlemen,
tempers flare. We'll be back to wrap it up. Today's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from Fontana, California has been brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. And by Quaker State, the quality your car deserves. Was Ernie Irvin a little unhappy about the way that last lap unfolded? I think so. Son, we need to talk. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Here are the results. Good moves toward the front here today by some guys. Mike Wallace notably from 18th spot. Sprague got back to 6th, and that is crucial in terms of the championship points. He didn't wrap it up today, but he certainly took a major step in that direction.
See, Rich Bickle back in 26th spot was second in the points going in.
That result of that is that Jack Sprague will have a very big lead going into the last 2 races of the year. But the news in California is Mike Bliss has won today, and tomorrow we come back for the Busch race. College football is next. Thanks, Benny. Thanks to the guys on pit road. Congratulations, Mike Bliss. We're out of here.